Hey everyone, and welcome back. So I wanted to do just a quick video today on some of the releases I'm really excited about that are coming up in the next couple months, and some releases that we could possibly get this year, hopefully. Some of the ones that I do think actually are likely. So I'm not just sort of creating a fantasy. These are ones that actually could happen, and definitely fingers crossed that they will. But first up, I just want to go over a couple that I am super excited about that for sure are coming. And just so people aren't kind of wondering about the thumbnail, in case you're wondering what I'm holding up, this is actually just the Blu-ray, the Scream Factory Blu-ray release of Creepshow. The Blu-ray release of American Werewolf in London, although the 4K release will have a similar artwork on the front. And this is actually a Japanese release of George Romero's Martin. Obviously, I don't have early copies of a 4K release or anything like that. I don't want you guys to be like, how did he get that? No, it's not what you think. So a couple of the ones I am super excited about that are coming from a couple different companies. Some of the ones from Scream Factory, including Alligator, which is coming out, which is long overdue. So happy that is finally getting a release, and it is going to be in 4K, which is just amazing, as well as The Howling in 4K. Now that is going to be just like the Studio Canal one that was released in the UK just a couple months ago, which I do have, which is a fantastic transfer, luckily. And the Scream Factory, at least the transfer, should mimic that one. So for those of you waiting on that one, and I did pre-order that one, so I'm going to get that one as well, so I can do a comparison. But if it is in fact the same one, it is a great transfer on that. And because I did tease it in my thumbnail, yes, George Romero's Martin from A Second Sight coming later this year. Obviously that one is on hold briefly just because they're trying to see what they can do in regards to the longer cut that has been discovered, and whether or not they're going to be able to incorporate it in their special edition or not. I hope they can. So I am super excited for the new 4K release from Second Sight. And of course, Vinegar Syndrome is doing a 4K release of the Christina Lindbergh film Thriller, A Cruel Picture, aka they call her One Eye. Another one that has been long overdue for the longest time, and the fact that they're doing like a fresh transfer and they're putting it in 4K as well. I mean, that is just amazing. So obviously we'll figure out more details on that down the line. And another one is Dario Argento's Phenomena coming out in 4K. Now Phenomena, and it's coming out, nice thing about it, it's coming out from Arrow in the UK and coming out from Synapse in the US, and I believe it's basically the same transfer. Phenomena is actually probably my second favorite Argento film. I kind of go back and forth sometimes depending on which one I watched last. But see, that was one that I saw early on, so it does have a lot of special meaning for me. It's like one of those ones that really introduced me to Argento. It was like Suspiria, and then I think I saw, but actually no, I take that back. I saw Creepers. The Creepers cut. I saw that before I saw Suspiria. So actually, that was my introduction to Argento, now that I think about it. And maybe, hopefully this year, maybe we'll also get Tenebrae on 4K. That would be great. And of course, the other two that I'm super excited about as well, of course, coming from Arrow, are the 4K releases of both RoboCop and An American Werewolf in London. Two films I absolutely love, and both films that I wish had gotten 4K releases when they were originally put on Blu-ray, but you know what? We're getting them now, and yeah, I am so excited. Now, there are films that we should be getting this year that have kind of unofficially been announced. One of them I am almost positive is coming in a couple months, and that is actually the Godfather trilogy in 4K. That has actually been in the works now, I think for like 2 years, that they've been remastering all three films, and I think they were just waiting for this year, because this year actually does mark the 50th anniversary of the original Godfather. And for those of you who don't know, The Godfather is actually one of my top 3 favorite films of all time. It's Star Wars, Dawn of the Dead, and The Godfather. Yeah, the fact that The Godfather is the only one left that I don't have in 4K, so I'm super excited about it. But that is for sure a must-have for me. And the other one that was hinted at, or alluded to rather, was the fact that we are going to get the rest of the Halloween films in 4K, probably around the same time as we got the last ones. So in that like September, October timeframe would be my guess. I mean, I'm sure that announcement probably won't come out until like, summertime or something. But I mean, I'm guessing, so hopefully it's all of the remaining ones. So it should be hopefully Curse of Michael Myers, H2O, Resurrection, and then the 2 Rob Zombie films. Now, a couple other films that I have not heard anything about. These are just ones that I would like to see released, in 4K this coming year if possible. And these are also ones that I think are doable. These aren't like, pie in the sky kind of dreams. Like, these are ones I could actually see happen. So first up would actually be Phantasm in 4K, because obviously it did have a 4K restoration just a couple years ago. It's been now released on Blu-ray a few times, but I would love to see the I mean, I would love to see all the Phantasm films in 4K, but especially if they want to kind of do it in increments, at least get the first film out in 4K. Now that we've gotten Dawn of the Dead in 4K, I would love to see the Night of the Living Dead 4K restoration from a couple years ago in 4K, because Criterion should be able to do that fairly easily, I would think. I would love to see their edition in 4K. And hopefully somebody somewhere can do Day of the Dead in 4K, because that one especially is in real major need of a massive remaster restoration, because even the Blu-ray from several years ago, like, it was okay, but like Day of the Dead has never really had like a great transfer. Like, I would love to see that one really get the love it deserves. So hopefully that one is a possibility. Next one is just one that I would just happen to love to see in 4K. Probably won't happen, but like a movie I loved when I was a kid was The Last Starfighter, and Arrow did that really amazing Blu-ray set with an incredible transfer on it, and I would actually love to see that transfer in 4K. I don't think it'll happen. I don't think there's as much interest in that one to go the expense of a 4K release, but that's just, now that probably is me more like, kind of pie in the sky. The Blu-ray is really awesome from Arrow, so yeah, it'd just be nice to have it. Next one is probably kind of in the same vein, only because I know there's a little bit more involved in it, but since we're getting Hard Target in 4K, especially once the corrected discs get out there, I would love to see more John Woo films in 4K. Now, obviously, especially some of his older Hong Kong films, now that is a lot more difficult to get. But like, for example, I mean, I thought there was a 4K restoration done of A Better Tomorrow, like 2 years ago or something, but I don't know whatever happened to that. And to get a film like Hard Boiled in 4K would be amazing. My personal favorite, and it's actually one of my favorite films in general, is the film The Killer that he did. I think that film is amazing. I would love to see that in 4K. That, out of almost all of his films, I think that's the one that sort of has gotten a really kind of shaky kind of history on video. Either the video portion hasn't been that great, or like the subtitles have never been done accurately. I think the Criterion release was the Criterion Laserdisc, actually, I think was the closest we've ever gotten to proper subtitles. But again, that actually probably qualifies to more pie in the sky dreaming on my case. Another one I would love to see, but most likely it will come out next year, would be The Exorcist in 4K. But because next year would be the anniversary, I'm guessing if it happens, it'll probably be next year. But that is definitely one I would love to see in 4K. So this next one is interesting. I'd like to see it this year. I don't know. I still think it's possible. I don't know if maybe I'm just dreaming, but that would indeed be a Nightmare on Elm Street set. I feel like we've been waiting for it forever. I mean, because I remember doing a video on it like 4 years ago or something. Once Scream Factory developed a relationship with Warner Brothers, and who owns also New Line Cinema, I remember at the time thinking like, oh, well, I bet you they're going to do a Nightmare on Elm Street box set. And even then, I remember saying, there's a good chance we'll get a Nightmare on Elm Street box set before we would ever get a Friday the 13th box set. Well, boy, was I wrong on that. This is obviously ongoing. I know Nightmare on Elm Street is a lot harder to get a hold of, because sometimes it's easy to forget that, Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy Krueger and all that really helped New Line Cinema become New Line Cinema. I mean, they had existed for, many, many years, but really that's the film that really turned them into like a studio. So even though Warner Brothers owns New Line Cinema now, I still think is a lot more involved there. And I would guess if they do it, that they would, Scream Factory, for example, does do a box set of it. I'd like to think they would actually do a 4K set. Now, could we get that this year? Maybe. I mean, who knows? Every year I keep thinking like, well, maybe we'll get it this year. If we do get it though, obviously, that would be probably like the release of the year in many ways. So fingers crossed that may be a possibility. And then finally, one that I would love to see this year, and one that I think technically could happen and would be fitting, because this year is the 40th anniversary of it, and that is actually one of my favorite films as well. And that would obviously be a 4K release of George Romero's Creepshow, which obviously they already did a 4K restoration. You would just have to go back, probably clean it up just a little bit more and do the HDR pass, and then boom, just release the same, in essence, Scream Factory release that they already did. Maybe fix that audio option for in the 5.1 mix, but leave the theatrical stereo mix alone because that actually sounded really good. So personally, I would love that, and I honestly, I do think that would be a possibility if they can just get the clearance for a 4K release, which I would almost assume that they could. So I'm gonna hope that we could get a 40th anniversary 4K release of Creepshow this year. I don't know, there's a lot more I could, I'm sure, come up with, but I kind of wanted to keep it a little bit more ones that are actual possibilities. I guess some of the John Woo ones were just like, that's me dreaming. But I think the other ones are actually very, very doable. And they're ones that, I kind of feel like are doable on so many ways. I mean, not only would they have people like us who would actually buy it, but also, access to elements, or there were 4K restorations that have already been done, or ones, except for the John Woo ones, that would be able to get licensing fairly easy, not to make the process sound easy, because it's not. I know there's a lot of red tape involved, but overall easier than it would be otherwise. So I don't know, just a couple quick thoughts. I just figured I'd kind of throw this together. A couple ones that are coming that I'm very excited about. Some of the ones that should be coming, just waiting on the official announcement, and then obviously the other ones that I think are just possibilities. So definitely let me know some of your thoughts on some of the ones that you're looking for that have been announced, some of the ones that you're think could be done, and it doesn't have to be 4K. I kind of kept these to 4K, but even just Blu-ray releases as well. So here's looking ahead to see what we do get this coming year. And as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one.